Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.
Always remember, you can take us along with you. Thank you so much for tuning into Feedback. That is Positive Image Production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host.
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
And you know, we always say, when we come on, it's either feast or famine, and today it's feast. But I want to say that this past weekend has been so enjoyable, and we always enjoy meeting more and more of you who tune into our program each and every Monday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10:30. And also know that we have a conference called each Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6. And you don't have to go anywhere, don't have to get out of your easy chair, your backyard, or your bed even. You just call us on the phone and participate. I want to say happy Monday to Katrina and to Gladys and to Carl and you know, we also have our other co-host who tunes in from time to time, and he calls us, and that would be Mark Cummings. And I want to say hello to Jackie, and that's another Jackie, Thabiti.
Wow, we're piling them up.
Right. But anyway, my co-host is going to introduce himself and our guest this morning and say hey to his group of supporters as well. Go ahead.
Shout outs to Professor Griggs, shout outs to Brother James Ford, Sister Jackie, Sister Ruth, and as we always say, as I demonstrate, have your pen and paper handy because you might want to write something down for future reference. Today we have a brother who runs the House of Pie, which is a health food store. I've been patronizing them for years. If you want some alkaline water, take care of that body, your temple, then this is the place to go. So Brother Howard has a moment to spend with us, so I'm going to first ask him, who is Brother Howard, and then tell them how they can get in touch with you at the store. We'll go from there.
Good morning. My name is Howard Williams. I'm a member of the House of Pie. We run the health food store on 15224 West 7 Mile. It's 1 block east of Greenfield. We specialize in alkaline water, diets, detoxes. We have all the CMOS, pretty much sour sop, everything you need to help your body stay in homeostasis.
What is homeostasis, brother? Because that's a word that we hear on the block.
Homeostasis is the balance between good and bad. Everything, too much of anything is bad, too little of anything is bad. That comfort spot in the middle where life is called the homeostasis.
Now, when I was talking with you at the store, with some things that you wanted to share with the general public and myself, because I'm new to the game as well.
Well, first of all, I wanted to let the word be out. We started the House of Pie electrical class back up. We're taking in sign-ups for people from 9 to 19. It's free of charge, and it's right at the store's location. They'll be every Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
How can they contact you?
They can call the store at 313-646-4431, or they could just come to the store and sign up. And once again, it's at 15224 West 7 Mile. It's 1 block east of Greenfield.
I had a question. What is soursop?
Soursop is actually a fruit that's grown abroad mostly, but it has a lot of properties in it that can help the human body. It helps clean blood. It helps kill free radicals. It's an excellent fighter against cancer of almost any kind. It helps detox the blood, so it also helps with diabetes numbers and the blood pressure numbers, things of that nature.
What does it look like?
Actually, if you go abroad, it's called apple custard because if you cut it open, it got that seeds like an apple, but it has the texture of custard. But it looks prickly and green on the outside. But a lot of the fruit they use for drinks and juice, but we use the leaves for the tea.
Oh, wow. That, I never heard of that before.
Oh, it's been around forever.
Soursop.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And it's called apple custard when you.
Yeah, if you're not in Western civilization.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Carry on. I just had to know about that.
And I just want to throw this in real quick. When he said, and I agree wholeheartedly, when you talk about Western civilization or so-called civilization, because I don't want to give him that credit. Sheikh Anta Diop didn't give him that. He said barbarism or civilization, and I tend more towards barbarism when I look at them.
Yes,
But
yes.
I have to say that a lot of things that they did were based on, or what we're dealing with now are based on medicines. What Brother Howard deals with is based on natural. We're dealing with from the earth, not from Pfizer chemicals or Squibb Labs and all that kind of thing. So maybe you can also, brother, give what I would say some overall general things, like maybe the benefits of alkaline water, because we don't understand that our system internally anyway is basically alkaline. But I'm going to let Brother Howard elaborate on that.
Yes. Alkaline, usually it's like an offset to our lifestyles because the things we eat, drink in America makes the acid level in our blood rise. And the alkaline water, the pH in it brings us back down to homeostasis. As you know, no disease can survive in an alkaline environment. So we try to keep the body in an alkaline environment.
Yeah, and I have to say I've been doing this for a number of years, and without revealing my years, just say that I'm not on any medications at all. And I know that it's because, and not only that, but they sell ginger. Just kind of give them a.
The thing is, we're products of the earth, and our medicine, our food, our life, everything should come from Mother Kai. When we go to process things, our body doesn't recognize those things. Our DNA doesn't recognize those things, so it creates a process in the body that releases mucus and things of that nature, things that's harmful and causes dis-ease in the body. And we use, like, everything you need, the universe gave us right here. Like, nothing the body can contract that nature can't fix.
Now I know that also, because I had some friends, I haven't done this yet, but I can tell you that the brother also had, now I believe it's that sage that you can burn, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that, now what does that do? Because I know it's supposed to do something in terms of maybe cleansing the air or the spirit.
White sage, it removes the negative ions in the atmosphere. And as you know, the negative ions is where the negative energy stirs, and energy is contagious. So you keep it clean. You just keep it clean so that way you don't get the negative energy. I do my storing home every day.
I have a question. You burn the sage, is that right?
Yes.
Is there any benefit if you don't burn the sage? If you just have it, I don't know.
That's an
wherever you
excellent
have
question because I've learned, like in the last couple months, I had a friend of mine that does naturopath holistic. He made me aware that if you have like a respiratory or clogged up breathing or something, you can just take the sage, don't burn it, and take 3 or 4 deep breaths in it, and it will actually clear your nasal passage.
it. Okay, now when you say take deep breaths, how? I mean, is the sage ground sage or something?
No.
How do you breathe?
It comes and it's tied up into it like a stick. It look almost like a tiny torch.
Oh, okay.
And even if you don't light it, you can inhale it. It's made from the sage plants, which is aromatic, and
okay.
it's almost like a menthol that when you breathe it in.
So you would just hold it under your nose and smell
take a
it.
deep breath, and it'll clear your nasal passages.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Now, I just want to bring to people's mind, I'm going to promote the brother's book first. It's called African Holistic Health by Dr. Olayla Africa. And then there's another one that most of us are familiar with also, been around forever, Jethro Kloss's Back to Eden. I mention both those books because both of those books deal with what the House of Pie store deals with, which is at 15224 7 Mile, 1 block east of Greenfield. But both of those books deal with natural and holistic ways of living as opposed to, again, so-called Western living, Western civilization, Western diets, which, from my understanding, you know, this whole thing of 3 meals a day plus snacks in between, that's only common in Western civilization. No place else on the earth do they even think like that. So as other countries have adopted Western ways of eating, they have also caught Western diseases as well, where they was doing fine before. Now they have to take blood pressure medicine, and they worried about diabetes because the Western diet is death, really. But who profits? The pharmaceutical industries, the medical industry. And as we know, those bills aren't cheap. And I say, as I've heard before, it's cheaper to, they say, oh, that health food stuff costs so much. But it costs even more when you're in bad health. So when you look at it on that scale, then that's one reason you should visit this brother. And I'm going to let him continue, but I just want to say that I've talked to this brother and the former, the All Family, Ma'at, who used to run the store. There is a wealth of knowledge. When you come in there, I can guarantee you, they know what they're talking about. Sometimes people sell stuff and they don't know. I don't know what it do, you know. I just got here. I've been here a month or whatever. These people have been running this business for years. Let's just get into decades, so they know their product. So again, brother, I want you to make sure that you let them know about the electrical, phone number, and address, because we want to make sure that you listeners and viewers, and then share this with the people you know too, but let them know, brother, how they can reach out to you.
All right, but first I want to touch on what you're saying about the 3 meals and the snacks in between. Countries that follow that philosophy also follow the obesity. And it's very, very, very toxic for your blood, which causes most of the illnesses that melanated people suffer from. And once again, we have the House of Pie, Electrical Construction. It's taught by my mentor, Pops, Payamba and Wally Moo. Is who I credit for all the information that I have to this date. And he's available as well. He's at the store a lot. And as he was speaking about this, the books, eating and those, you can pre-order them at the store. Any of the naturopath, holistic, or nutritious books that you want, you can come pre-order at the store and we'll get them for you if you can't find them. And we want to promote my big brother's book, Slaves of the Tongue, Dr. Faraz Arif. Is at the store. You can get it there. It tells about all of the nutritious things that we should be eating, all the bad things that we have been eating, and how basically we are slaves to our tongue, and that's why our temple is breaking down in most of us. And once again, this is Howard Williams from the House of Pie Health Food Store at 15224 West 7 Mile. The phone number is 313-646-4431. Feel free to come down for any of your naturopath holistic needs, alkaline water, and information. We love sharing information and teaching.
One book I failed to mention, and Brother Payamba just gave it to me, is Slaves of the Tongue by Dr. Farid Zarif. And as Brother Howard just said, you can order this from the store. And I happen to have this book also, and I've shared the information, a lot of information, because one of the sad things is that we don't really know our bodies. We just don't know our bodies. We know we put something in and something comes out. We don't really understand the nature of what we're putting in there, all of the growth hormones, bioengineered things. Monsanto is notorious. I call them Monsatan, but anyway, Monsanto is notorious for harvesting what are the good seeds, and they come up with these artificial seeds. And I just want to throw, since I'm saying seeds, if it's a seedless fruit, it's not a fruit. It's not natural from the earth, because I'm not a Bible toter or nothing, but it says that everything came from a seed when they spoke about Garden of Eden and such. So seeds produce fruit. If you get something seedless, it's probably a hothouse or something that's manufactured, engineered, but it's natural, not natural. Now, Brother Howard mentioned something, and I'm just going to kind of piggyback on it, that your body is not familiar with these things. It don't know what to do with this mess you're putting in there. I mean, it's allowing you to do it because you're, again, slaves of the tongue, right? The tongue say, let's do this, and the body say, okay, I'm with it, until it starts to have issues. Then you need antacids, and you need this and that. So if it don't have seeds in it, then you're doing yourself an injustice by putting it in your body. So don't be a slave of the tongue. And as I say, Brother Howard here is a wealth of information. Every time I go in there, I spend more time talking to him than I do shopping, but that's just how it goes.
That's the energy. That's what we want. That's the atmosphere that we shoot for.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me this, you had backed up about the 3 meals a day and snacks. How does the rest of the world eat?
Actually, it's the relationship with food.
Uh-huh.
We look at food for pleasure. Food is simply gas. It's simply fuel. And once you fill the tank up in your car, it won't take any more gas. Well, the body, it breaks down after you put too much gas in it, and not high octane gas. But most of the things that's available to us in America is low in nutrition and high in everything but natural things, is artificial things you can't even pronounce, and simple stuff like sliced bread. I mean, it's all over the place, and then it's hard to get away from it now. Like he was referring to the seedless GMOs. When we were growing up, it was fruit and vegetable trees in every yard.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look around now, you can't find natural food anymore. You have to tear half your savings account to get a seeded watermelon now.
Oh, yes. That is difficult.
But
too.
they understand this, what they're doing. They know this is a design.
Mm-hmm.
The pharmaceutical companies, they trying to stimulate their economy.
Yeah, wow. And don't mention what has happened after COVID with the way that the prices have just tripled and just gone out of the world.
Yeah.
And I found out within the past 12 or 13 months, I know 3 people who have peach trees in their yards. And I wasn't even aware that peaches could grow in Michigan or in the northern part of the country. And I know 3 different people who actually have peach trees.
And you know what's something? They planted them. It hardly happened after the extermination of our fruit trees. Because you can search that whole area. There's probably the only 3 people in the city
that got some peach trees left, right? Wow. And I'm glad to hear more and more people talk about having gardens now. What do they call it? A lifted bed?
Above ground beds is a smarter alternative, being that most of the soil in Michigan is, well, at least in Detroit, is really bad.
Yeah.
Most of the fields have structures under them, which poisons the soil.
Oh, okay.
Like paint, wood, chips. You bury a house under there, and then all that stuff just decomposes into the soil.
I remember, about 25 years ago, they started this. It was not a good idea, in my opinion, but the demolition of houses. When the house was torn down, rather than cart all of the remains away, they just dumped it in the basement and covered it over.
Exactly.
So that could be part of what you're speaking of.
Exactly.
When a lot of the after effects of demolition of a house puts all kinds of things in the soil.
And they only do those practices in the inner city. If you go to the suburbs, when they remove demolition house, they tote all that stuff away in trucks. In the city, they just put it into a hole and cover it up.
Cover it up, right? Cover it up. And after, I guess, a year or so, you just see a grass lot. But now when the lots are for sale, in the paperwork, it tells you you can buy the lot, but you can't build on it.
Exactly. Yeah,
So-
they just trying to save a couple bucks.
Mm-hmm. On the residents, and it's just not a good idea. But if someone were to come to the store and ask you, say, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, or whatever they would say, what do you recommend I start with?
First, that's a great question, but it depends on where you're starting. Different people have different things. Like, I would suggest first thing, most importantly, change your water, get real water, live water, control your red meat or muscle meat intake, because those things really, really poison the body. And personally, I would say get away from cola and, you know, it goes without saying, cigarettes and alcohol and things of that nature. Those things just tear you apart. But once you get rid of that, and instead of being extremist, what I did personally years ago, I'm addicted to food. I love to eat. So I couldn't just revamp my habits with the things I learned just because I learned them that fast. So what I would do is consciously, and I would advise this to people who's looking to change, I would take one thing that's bad in my diet and replace it with one thing that was good, and I would do that once a month. Within a year, you're in a whole new diet, and now it's no stress. It's a new lifestyle. It's not a temporary thing. And your body just transforms because you are what you eat. The healthier you eat, the healthier person you'll be.
Oh, okay. You take one unhealthy thing out, in relation to food,
Yes.
and you replace it with one good, healthy. Oh, okay.
And it don't seem like it's too stressful. It's no burden on you.
Right.
And you get to pick which thing you take out and what you put in. So you can save your favorite bad thing for last, I suppose.
Very doable.
Right. That's one way to look at it. Now, what about wine? You hear that wine is healthy, and in different countries they drink wine rather than water, I guess.
I guess it depends on who you ask it. But everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. I don't think a glass of red wine a day would kill you, but I think a bottle just might.
Mad Dog. Wild Irish Rose.
Right. That's not just typical wine. There's a little more than grapes in there.
Oh my goodness.
Now we're down to about the last 2 or 3 minutes
Oh,
in this
goodness.
segment. And I will say, Phil, to what you said about the wine, if it's grape or red, there's something in there called resveratrol, which you can get from eating just the grapes themselves or grape juice. But those are good for, I would say, antioxidant as well as anti-aging. So it helps you maintain. So yeah, wine in moderation, not Ned the Wino. We'll deal with the real. Very helpful. So in these last couple of minutes, brother, I want you to share again with contact information and things so y'all can hustle on over there to the House of Pie.
Once again, I'm Howard Williams from House of Pie Health Food Store. We're at 15224 West 7 Mile, 1 block east of Greenfield. And if you come, ask for Howard and mention this interview, we give you 15% off anything you get today.
Yeah, say Hood Research. Yeah, because we'll make it simple. Say Hood Research. Remember Hood Research. Mention that to Brother Howard Williams and get that discount.
Yeah. All right. And ask about starting a new life and what you recommend. I think that was wonderful. And the telephone number for the store?
Once again, it's 313-646-4431. Everyone's welcome, and we don't withhold any knowledge. We want to share it all.
646-3411.
It's 4431.
4431 and 313 area code. That would be on West 7 Mile. Is Sussex the side street?
Yes, between Wickham and Sussex. Yes, you're accurate.
Okay.
And I want to thank you guys for having me back again.
Oh, you're welcome.
Glad to have you, brother. We need to keep a healthy army because we're fighting against a lot of things, and first we're fighting for health.
That's so true.
Yes.
And try that fruit. What's that fruit called? Strange fruit.
Sour. It's rather delicious, actually. But the name being sour, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that was a deterrent from Western civilization to keep you from trying it.
Anything contrary to them, they're not going to.
They figure if we say sour, we ain't going to like it.
Yeah, right.
Western comes and says apple custard. Hey, that sounds interesting. Give me a spoon of that.
Good point. Yes.
So we want to thank Brother Howard again. We're going to close this segment. We've got another guest coming up who is equally as knowledgeable. I would say more. He's a patriarch of knowledge.
He's my teacher.
Yeah. So stay tuned. As Theo would say, get your water, your juice, your coffee, whatever it
And
is.
call somebody, and we'll be back momentarily.
Hello, I'm James Ford. I survived a red light runner, but will you? You know, Michigan has had 1,123 auto accident deaths a year. That's 21 per week. We know Detroit alone has 156 deaths, and that equals 3 a week. Those stats do not include the 550 people that are crippled and disabled a month. At 12 noon, September 18th, 2024, people in Detroit and other cities in Michigan will meet in Lansing, state capital, and complain about red light running, drag racing, and hallucinated driving. Yes, bring your lawn chairs. September 18th, Detroit and all Michigan cities will ask legislatures to enforce and enact laws that will stop drag racing and red light running and hallucinated driving. You know, this is not different than the Flint water crisis. People are dying. Join us Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. If you like, call 586-918-3061 for more information. Drag racing, red light running, hallucinated driving, it must stop. Stand up, September 18th. Call and share your input. Call 586-918-3061 or call 701-301-3118. Also, again, people of all nationalities, express your input and ideas at 586-918-3061 or 701-301-3118 to stop drag racing, red light running, and hallucinated driving. Thank you, and God bless everybody. Thank you.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, there's gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Womack here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the...
Chew!
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
And don't forget, you can always take us along with you. And now, as I said, it's feast today. And Thabiti, our next guest is?
We have here from the House of Pi, Brother Payimba. I'll let him give you his full name because it's easier for me, just like when they mention my name, Thabiti, sometimes they have to just stop at the first name because it's a little rough to carry it on. So our guest today is also extremely knowledgeable, man. He's also the instructor for the electrical training for youth, but I'll let him introduce himself. This is Brother Pi.
Yes. Yeah, Payimba Mwalimu is the last, well, actually it's not a last name, it's a title. Mwalimu is Swahili, it means teacher. And Payimba, you know, I received from the spirit world. So, but anyway, I was really impressed with Howard as he was coming on. Howard is one of my former students and has been with me since he was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of honored when he decided to purchase the health food store from my cousin, my aunt. And then he renamed it the House of Pi for his experience in the House of Pi. So I'm humbled by that, you know. He wants to keep the legacy going. And knowledge, like he said, knowledge, people say you can't take it with you when you die. They're talking about money. Because in this society, like you say, in this society, that's the what they worship here. Their God is money. But when I think about it, I think about knowledge twice as much, because when you die, your knowledge can't be passed on unless you have it, you know, written down and other things. But so we give it away freely, you know, as Howard was saying at the House of Pi. Anybody that comes, you know, I share it, and he shares it, you know. Like the electrical class, I teach students from school, school-age students generally that are still in school. And I teach them minor electrical repair. That was the crux of my program. It was really youth development. And electrical class was a magic feather to get their attention. People would ask me, because we received a lot of awards for it, and then people would come to me and say, well, how many electricians do you have now? And I says, I got one, a master electrician, and it was Gary Martin, and he had said he wanted to be a master electrician. They said, you got one? I said, yeah. I wasn't trying to make electricians. I was just trying to show them that they could conquer anything they wanted to do once they understood electricity. If they could conquer that, they said, wow, I could do anything. and that's the confidence that unlocked in most of them. And that's the way it is now. And I expected them to turn 18, leave, go out into the world and do their own lives. But many of them have just stayed around. So we've got like a family. And Howard will attest to that. He's been with me for, what, 40 something, maybe 40 years.
Oh, wow, wow.
And, you know, I could go on and name a bunch of them. He talked earlier about Dr. Zarif, who is MD bariatrics and a PhD naturopath. He was valedictorian of his high school. He went to Eastern. And as a valedictorian, you know, everybody around you is encouraging you to go to college. You know, you're the best, go to college.
Right.
But he didn't have a mother or father. He was being raised by his grandmother, and I was mentoring him at the time. So he came to me and says, I don't want to go to college.
Oh.
And I said, well, college is not for everybody, but if you don't go to college, you must do something that you love, because then the love will sustain you, because you're not worried about the money. So he says, the only thing I love is martial arts. He was a black belt at the time. He had received it. And I said, well, teach it. And he started the Ninja Karate and Health Club. And it was very successful. He mentored a lot of students in the martial arts. And then when entertainers come to town, you know, they don't bring their whole cadre. They just bring a skeleton crew, especially security. So when they get to the location, they always ask, so who's the best martial artist, or who's the best defense person? And the word came out that Farid Zarif. So he said, okay, I'll add him to my cadre. So he added him to his cadre. Then he came back later on and told me, boy, this guy is spiritual. So he said, I want you to be my private bodyguard. So Zarif came back to me and said, Stevie Wonder wants me to be his private bodyguard. What do you think? I said, well, when you get to California, I've seen you fight. Now, I don't think anybody will beat you up. I said, but when you get to California, the enemy's going to be different. It's going to be seduction. It's going to be glitter. It's going to be lights and things that can mesmerize you. Can you handle that enemy? So he says, I think I can. I said, well, then you have my blessing. And he went off to California with Stevie Wonder, and he was his bodyguard for about 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
You know, and one time he got into boxing, and he hit a guy. And he called me. He was telling me about it. He says, I hit this guy in the nose, and I broke his nose, and his nose was smashed into his face.
Oh.
He says, and time stood still. He says, I could see every detail. His eyes watered, then shed. His face swelled up, and then he fell. And I asked myself, why am I doing this? He said, I know enough about the human body that I can heal it. That's when he decided to go to college, and he took up medicine.
Wow.
And he's an MD bariatrics now, and like I said, a PhD naturopath. And we talk often. And one of the few books that he wrote was Slaves of the Tongue. So
the other side is where your camera's at.
Oh yeah. Slaves of the Tongue. And in it he talks about the eating habit, like you said. He said, over here in Western civilization, they teach us to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He said, but some farmer made that up so he could sell bacon and eggs. So he says, it's not, you don't eat like that. He says, you eat per your circadian rhythm. And people say, well, circadian rhythm, what's that? He said, okay, let's put it this way. When the sun rises, you should rise. When the sun sets, you should set. He said, it's like birds. You don't see no birds flying around at night. He said, they resting. He says, so what it is, you have 12 hours to energize yourself. So let's say you eat breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then at 7 o'clock at night, you should not be eating anything. You should be fasting. For those 12 hours are for repair and rest. And I thought about that. I said, because, you know, most of us eat very haphazardly. We don't even eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We eat midnight snacks. And we watch television, and we eat it anytime we feel like eating. We just eat. But that energy, you know, tries to confuse our body. Our body is smarter than you think, though. You say, you know, we've actually become habituated to what we eat. If you take a baby and you give them their first food, they will eat fruit, because we're actually fruitarians. We'll eat fruit. If you give them anything else, they'll spit it out. I mean, but we've been brainwashed to have, like when we have their first birthday party, We have ice cream, cake, hot dogs. And so, and I'm looking at this, and the kid is going, what in the world are you doing? They can't talk, but their body knows. So when you put anything, and this is a good test, when you put anything in your body that your body does not want, it says, what are they sending down now? And it says, oh, they sending down some of them White Castles. They say, oh, whoa, no, we don't want that. They say, coat your stomach with mucus. So you'll notice anytime you eat something bad, your body will tell you, because you'll start mucusing, snotting, and blowing. You know, where did that come from? That came from what you ate, because your body's trying not to absorb that. And it coats your colon with a layer of mucus. And so that it will slide through. That's why they call White Castle sliders.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they do slide through.
Yeah, they slide through. I mean, but anything like that, your body is smarter than you are in terms of what it's going to do. It has its own consciousness. And if we don't consciously know what's healthy, our body does. I mean, you don't see any animals running around to the doctor. You know, if a dog gets sick, it knows what plant to chew on. It knows where it can get relief, you know. And that's what I say, you know. I heard you ask earlier, Theo, about how should a person do that is not knowledgeable. And the first advice that I would give them is study nature, because you can get your clues from nature. For example, about milk. Oh, milk has all this property and it's good for us. Wait a minute. You don't see any animal in nature that drinks milk after it's weaned except man. And we don't drink human milk. We drink a cow's milk, which is for a 1,200-pound animal. And not only that, even if it was good for you in the beginning, now it's an industry. They have to, the dairy cow, which produces approximately about 3 gallons of milk, now must produce 22 gallons of milk for its upkeep. It ain't profitable to make a dairy cow unless you produce 22 gallons. Wow. So they keep its udder full by injecting growth hormones. And now the growth hormones are in the milk. If you study what's happening to our kids now, the young girls are maturing like 9, 10 years old. I'm saying, what is going on here? They're drinking this youth hormone or this growth hormone that's in the cow's milk. And if you ask the FDA, I forgot how much pus is allowed in the milk, because with 22 gallons, it's always in the stretching condition, and it bursts and put pus in the milk. And they'll tell you how much pus is legally allowed in the milk.
You know, that's kind of crazy, too, because they always, you know, I mean, cut you off, brother, but you hit something when you said that, because I think about how they say the government will only know so many parts per million. There should be no part.
Exactly.
Millions, whatever.
Well, I get confused. I'm saying, how did the FDA approve this particular pharmaceutical, for example, with 10 different side effects? I mean, what is there a number of side effects that we will? Oh no, that's got too many side effects. We can't approve that. No, it's all based on dollars and cents. You know, they approve it, and they do the math. Let's see, how many people died? Well, let's see, so many. How many people got sick? Okay, so many. 5 years later, you hear something on the news, but did you take so and so?
Yeah.
Well, you now have a lawsuit. Well, you're dead. Yeah. I mean, how you going to sue them? They figured that out. So many people are dead. They're not going to sue us. Right. The basic people that are taking it are the people that are not knowledgeable, or the black community. They're listening to us. They believe in us. They're not going to sue us. Now, so we got, let's see, okay, 3% of the people will sue us. Let's see, how much profit did we make? So, okay, yeah, we can pay them. We'll pay those 3% of the people the money and take it off the market. Come on, no.
Now, I'm going to give you all a quick analogy to that. When I was working in construction trade, I remember a guy who had worked at Ford had told us they just came out with the Ford Expedition. And what the guy said is that he worked there, so he knew. He says, yeah, there was some faults on the production line, but they still continued to produce 20,000, let's say, Expeditions. They wanted to make sure they sold as many Expeditions as they could. Then they had a recall on them, but they already knew that they were faulty. But just like what Brother Pi said, how much money can we make before we have a recall? Because it's all about the bottom line, very deep.
And we've got to get away from that. You know, money cannot be the deciding factor. Morality is gone away in this country. I mean, there's no moral compass. I mean, you don't hear a person saying, yeah, okay, I won't do that. Yeah, everybody has a price, and that's unfortunate, you know.
One of the things I wanted to add too, brother, when you were talking about how the body recognizes certain things. Now, in other nations, I would imagine it's not the case, but they give our children drugs for ADHD, hyperactivity, but they never look at the fact that the cereal that the child ate had all the sugar in the milk. They give them candy and run around. They want to know why the children won't sit still. You got that rush of sugar in your body, so it's hard for a child anyway to sit still because they're children, their attention span is short. But when you start burdening them with overdosing them with sugar, be it, whatever cereal, because they all got sugar in them, along with the candy, and then you wonder why they won't sit still. So then the pharmaceutical industry comes up with drugs, to Ritalin in particular, to try to calm them down. But the whole problem was that you gave them a drug in the first place. Sugar is a drug. I'll deal with that on another show, but sugar is absolutely a drug. It's crystalline in nature, just like cocaine is, but salt is, all crystalline. But a lot of people don't understand it. Again, if you go to visit the House of Pi, they will make you knowledgeable about what you're doing to your body and how to fix it.
Yeah, and that's so true. But anyway, I was just piggybacking on Howard, but I could talk about that subject all day. I could speak about the electrical class. One of the classes that I'm planning to add is a self-healing class, because as Steele brought up, basically people are afraid to take charge of their own health because they don't know what to do. They brainwashed us to believe in the white coats and stethoscopes. People run to ER now with a headache. I got a headache. I better go to the emergency room. Everything is done at the emergency room. Our grandparents didn't do that. They'd go out in the backyard and say, here's some sassafras. Get in here, boy, and take this castor oil. And they knew what to do, but we've lost that art of self-healing. I've been taking care of myself for over 50 years. And I challenge the hospitals when I go in, and they don't like it at first, but the nurses begin to listen, and they'll ask, after the doctor leaves, what do you recommend for so-and-so? Because they don't want to take the pharmaceuticals either.
And the price certainly deters you from taking it.
Yeah, and it takes your whole income.
Yeah.
We're actually vegetables in the system. We're like clogs in the machinery. They feed us just enough to keep us alive and to take our resources. And this is crazy.
Good point. I got two questions. One about the electrical class. Do you teach your students how to put in a Ring doorbell?
A Ring doorbell. Well, this new technology coming out comes with its own instructions. My students learn how to learn the basics of doorbells. And that's interesting that you should bring that up, and that's good. Because I want to talk about a little bit about technology. Because as technology is improving, we're becoming lazier. We only press the button. We have no idea what's happening behind the button, and don't want to know. I just want to know when I press this button, this happens. And I'm saying, what happens when the button doesn't work? Now what? I mean, people panicked when we had the blackout. don't know what to do. I don't have any electricity. Electricity is a relatively new thing. It's 100 and something years old. What did people do for 300 or 400 years before that? What are you talking about? You don't know what to do. One of the things I did with the House of Pi electrical class, or the House of Pi youth development, I took the kids camping maybe 4 or 5 times a year. We went in the spring, the summer, the winter, it didn't matter. And they learned how to survive without basics. I said, you can't bring a television, radio, cell phone. You can't bring anything. If you want to make music, you bring an instrument that you play. And we played board games. We played together. We molded ourselves together. And then when the blackout came, and their parents were, they said, we got the camping, but let's bring out the camping. and the parents said, yeah, you're right. We don't need the paddock. I mean, we can survive without electricity. But if they don't know the basics of electricity, what's behind it, you press the button and thing doesn't work. They know what to do now. Okay, I teach them how to test certain things to see where the problem is, become troubleshooters. People ask me, they says, well, you say you're not trying to make electricians, but what you doing? I says, I'm trying to make C students. They say, C students? We want A students. I said, no, I want C students. They say, what? I say, I want to unlock the confidence in them so they can do anything. So that's what I'm aiming at, is confidence. I'm not looking for a grade. That's something you learn in school, and you'll memorize instead of learning. I taught my students, you must learn, not memorize. They said, what's the difference? I say, on Thursday, you be memorizing for the test that's coming on Monday. But if I gave you the same test on Tuesday, you wouldn't know a thing. I said, because you just memorized it so you could get through the test. I say, learning is when they say, do the odd work at home. That's when you do the even work too, because you wanted to know. And you will know when you know, because a light will come on. Your eyes will light up. And you say, I get it now. You know, and now it's a part of you. I never did any homework in geometry, because I answered every question that the teacher asked in class until I understood. And then I said, I understand this. This is easy. And so what I teach at the electrical class also is advanced mathematical things. We talk about the disparity in these tests that they give, the cultural differences, like, this test was culturally biased. How do you know? I'll give you an example. A lot of these tests are four-question multiple choice. Is it A, B, C, or D? Now on the SAT test, it'll say, which of these 10-digit numbers are divisible by 9? You say, 10-digit number divisible by 9? I don't know. So you try to divide it. Black people do. But white people know the secret. They'll tell their kids the shortcut, and they'll be done with that question in 5 seconds, while we'll be taking 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll not get it wrong, but we'll miss the rest of the test because of the time.
Now, I want you all to digest that. We're about to hit that top of the hour break. You know, that clock never stopped ticking. So, again, refresh your drinks, and I'll let Theo send us on out on this break.
All right. We have to pause for the calls. Station identification. So call somebody. Tell them to tune in and listen to all this wonderful information. And we'll be back momentarily.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2888. 2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000. Access code 338729. Thank you very much.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
All right, everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, there's gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Woodman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first, they'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
All media platforms are engaged.
Copy.
Get ready to launch your show or product.
Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that.
Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
All right. And we are back. And you know, I have another question which has to do with milk. You talked about the cow's milk is for baby cows. And you know, I one year decided I was going to stop drinking cow's milk. But I like milk. Milk goes with a lot of things.
It's a test.
So I went to the health food store to find out if they had milk. Well, they had soy milk, and I think they had rice milk and one other milk.
Almond milk, probably.
No, almond milk wasn't out at that time. And this was back some decades. I've not been drinking cow's milk for a long time. And so I bought one of each, and I brought them home, and I didn't really like the way they tasted. So then I decided to get off of this cow's milk, that instead of drinking whole milk, I would bounce down to, I think it was 2%. And okay, that was all right for a while. Then I bounced down to 1%. Okay, well, I was going along slowly but surely. Then I decided to try this, what was it? 1% skim milk. Oh, Lord. That's the worst tasting stuff on the planet. And I went back to the health food store. Well, at this time, they had increased their types. So I did the soy milk. They had oat milk at that time, yes, and rice milk, and so anyway, I bought one of each, and then finally, as I was testing them, I discovered that the oat milk tastes closest to cow's milk, and the almond milk was okay, so I started buying almond milk and alternating. And I to this day, I buy almond milk and I buy oat milk. Oat milk's made from oatmeal, by the way, for those of you who didn't get it. And they're a good substitute to regular cow's milk, and I don't have to do that anymore. There's one little thing, though. I do like cow's ice cream. So now what I'm trying to do is find some ice cream that's made with oat milk or almond milk, or along that line.
They do have those substitute milk ice creams out there. You can find them.
Oh, okay.
And I'm throw this in here real quick since you were talking about cow's milk. One of the things, and it didn't get widely publicized, but that when children were dying in their bassinets or their cribs with sudden infant death syndrome, which they call SIDS,
right?
And then Brother Payamba said about the pus, they say that, the cow's milk was made for baby calves. When you give that to your child in a bottle, that overwhelms their system, which is where the sudden infant death syndrome came from. But again, they didn't put that out there on a large scale, because it's just like printing a Caucasian criminal's crime on the bottom page or the back page of the sports section. They not certain little things they'll let you know once, because that, as I guess journalists or whatever media sources, they let you know once, but they don't emphasize it. So I only want to say that the sudden infant death syndrome that they used to speak about, we don't hear about it too much anymore nowadays. Right. Not that it doesn't exist, we just don't hear about it. But the cow's milk, which was made, like the brothers say, you get a 1,200-pound cow. It was made for that baby calf, so that calf could build up and become strong in a fast amount of time. It was not made for human consumption, but Western civilization, or so-called civilization and diet, has got us so conditioned into believing certain things, we don't question anything, which is another reason why, again, I say you need to visit the House of Pie at 15, let's just say it digit by digit, 15224 7 Mile, which is just a block east of Greenfield Road. And you can get on a lot of this knowledge, because as the motto of Hood research is, people would do better if they knew better. Well, you have to be able to go to the sources that know And then not only learn that, but gradually, as Howard said, put it in practice. Once a month, try to get rid of a habit that is not your greatest craving, but you say, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. And if you do that once a month, for after a year, you get rid of 12 things that were detrimental to your body, because it's the only body you're going to get. And it's hard to get replacement parts to that, so don't even play.
And if you're not the advocate for your own body, if you go into a hospital, you're at the mercy of whatever they say. If you don't know anything, then you don't challenge anything. I went into the hospital. No, I was talking to Dr. Zarif on the phone, and I just coughed. I said, he said, "Oh, you better get to the hospital. I think you got pneumonia." I said, "You in California? I'm in Detroit. I cough on the phone, and you diagnose that as
pneumonia?
As pneumonia?" I said, "You can tell?" But I had been with him so long. This wasn't, I had known him for about 20, 30 years, and I had been following his medical treatise. So I knew he's brilliant. So I went to the doctor. I also know this. When you go to the ER, you don't tell them I have a toe ache or I have this. You tell them I have a chest pain, because that's the only way you'll move up in front of the line. So I went to the emergency, and I said, "I got a pain in my chest," which I did. I don't like to lie. I had a pulled muscle. So I had a pulled muscle in my chest. And I says, "And I think I got pneumonia." So they brought the cardio team down and the pulmonary team down. And they both went away. And the cardio team came back and said, "Nothing wrong with your heart." "Oh, thank you." So he went away. The pulmonary team came back, and he looked at me. He had his arms folded. He says, "You don't have pneumonia." He says, "And your white blood cell count is good. You don't have an infection." He said, "You got lung cancer."
Oh.
So now when people hear the big C, they usually,
Whoa.
But I'm me. I had been taking care of myself for over 30 years by then. So I says, "What are my options?" He says, "Well, we can stick a tube up your nose and go down into your lung and get a piece of the mass that way." But that doesn't usually work. So what we could do is cut you directly in the side and go into your lung and remove a piece of the mass that way. He says, "So talk it over with your family and I'll be back." So now you notice he didn't mention biopsy. He just said get a piece of the mass, because he thinks black people don't know anything anyway. So I'm sitting there, and he says, "Talk it over your family." I says, "Everybody talks it over with me." I said, so I will sit there, and I just sat there and meditated for a while. And then when he came back, because I'm also a union official, I bargained Fortune 500 companies, AT&T, Yellow Pages, DTE, ADT, Comcast. I bargained the national contracts with these people. So I recognize body language and what's going on. So here this doctor comes back with an old doctor and a young doctor. And immediately my mind says, God, he's going to operate on me. I mean, teach him to, he's going to use me as a guinea pig. So they all smiling, and they come back. And he says, "Well, did you talk it over?" I says, "Yeah, but I got a couple of questions." And they look at each other, glance at you. "Oh, that's good. That means you're buying into the program. You just got some questions."
That's what they think.
Yeah, that's what they think. So he don't know me. So I says, "You said you'd stick a tube up my nose and go down in my lung." "Oh, yeah, you won't feel a thing. You'll be asleep. You'll be sick." I said, "That's not my question." "What's your question?" I said, "You said it doesn't work." Now, why would you, in the same breath, I said, "Why would you do something that doesn't work?" Well, I already knew the highest thing that the highest revenue that the hospitals can get is from operations. If he sticks a tube up my nose, go down into my lung, that's one operation.
Right.
He's already told me it's not going to work. So now I'm prepared for his, we didn't find anything. Now we're going to have to cut open your side. Okay, that's 2 operations. The third operation is to go back in and remove it. That's 3 operations on the same thing. So I says, now you said it didn't work. So why do something that doesn't work? So I said, throw that off the table. I said, what would give you the results you're looking for? He says, well, it's to go in directly in your side and get the piece of the mass that way. I says, okay, that raises another question. He said, what's that? I said, you got me opened up. You got a operating team around you. You're in there. Why would you cut a piece of a 1.7 centimeter mass off? Just take the whole thing out. I said, you're in there. Why are you going to cut a piece of it?
And you already knows what it is, so he said.
You know what it is. You don't know whether, but I said, then I called him out. I says, the only reason for you to take a biopsy is to get an answer to a question. You want to know whether it's benign or malignant. I said, let's skip to the chase. I got lung cancer. Now what you going to do? He said, well, I said, what? He said, what you mean? I said, what's your treatment? He said, we go in and cut it out. I said, well, you were just in there. You said you spread it all over. So he got frustrated then, and he started studying. He said, well, that's the chance you take when you have an operation. It'll spread here, spread. I said, okay. I said, close me up.
No, that's
I said, so now, I'm going to take your first advice, and that's do nothing. And he says, but I said, I know you didn't mean do nothing. You meant I had a certain amount of time. So how much time I got to do nothing? He says, you got about 5 weeks. I says, okay, I'm going to take those 5 weeks you're giving me to do nothing, and I'm going to go to California and hang out with my personal doctor, and we're going to see what we can do with this. I said, then I'll come back and we'll talk about it again. How's that? And he looks, he said, well, I guess that's your prerogative. I said, I know that's my prerogative. Most patients don't know it's their prerogative.
He got an attitude.
So he looked at the other two doctors and he says, I guess there won't be no work for us today. And I said, nope, won't be any work for you today. And I went to California, and Dr. Zarif put me on exercise, gave me some herbs, and for 6 weeks, we worked on it. And I came back, and I decided not to go back to the hospital. I says, I'm a veteran. I says, I already signed up for the VA hospital, but I've never been there. So I went back down there. I says, look, I want to know, am I in your system? They said, yes. You're still in there. You want to update? I updated, whatever. They said, do you want a doctor? I said, yeah. So they gave me a doctor. Says, you got any problems? I said, well, they said I had lung cancer. So he says, well, we don't take other hospitals and other people's word. We start from scratch.
That's a good thing.
Okay. So he did an MRI, an X-ray. He called me into the room where he was. We sat down. He turned the monitor on and said, now, here it is. I said, wow, they didn't do that. So he says, see, he says, first thing out of his mouth, I don't recommend a biopsy. I said, what? He says, no, because the mass, see where it is? I said, no, I really can't see. You need a trained eye. He says, well, it's right here. Then I saw it. He says, okay. He says, it's the interface of your lung and your heart. We don't realize, because we can't see inside ourselves, that your lung actually makes contact with your heart. He says, so we got two moving targets. Your lung is breathing, your heart is beating. So if we go to take a biopsy, we puncture your heart. So I said, oh my God. They were going to operate the same day. So he says, but we could give it an injection of sugar, because cancer cells like sugar. Absolutely. So he says, and that would tell us. I said, well, that's not true. I said, not totally true. He said, what? I said, yeah. I said, black mold operates the same way. He says, yeah, you're right. I says, I haven't done anything to have cancer. I says, I don't smoke. I haven't been exposed to asbestos. I says, I don't understand, this. I says, but I have been exposed to black mold. So I'm thinking maybe I have some black mold in it. So he says, okay. He says, but it's still the same. He says, we don't want to stick a needle in there and puncture your heart. He says, we'll monitor it for every 3 months for a year and see what it does. He says, then we'll know what to do. I says, okay. So I heard him mutter, dang, I wish I had another picture. And I says, there is another picture. He says, what? I says, they took a picture at the other hospital. So he says, oh, go get it. And I went and got it, brought it back to him. Again, he took me in the room, turned on the monitor, put the thing down, discussed it with me. He said, it shrunk since you took the first picture. I don't understand it. I says, yeah, I went to California and I hung out with my doctor and he gave me a treatment. He said, well, heck, this could just be scar tissue or something. He said, we don't even have to worry about it. So that was in 2000. That was about 10 years ago. I went from having an operation that same day to be a guinea pig to not having to do anything at all. And can you imagine how many people have had operations and go through this whole cancer regimen, which is chemo, radiation, and operation. They do all three of them. When all you had to do is go ahead and cut it out, what are you doing the radiation and chemo for?
Right.
You know, why are you doing all three of them?
Money.
Yeah, it's the money. And you realize that the hospitals, the first priority, because hospitals are a business, they have to raise money for the hospital. But I realized when I went to the VA that they don't have to raise money because they're paid. The government pays for VA hospitals, so I noticed a difference in their
treatment.
Concern. Yeah, in the treatment. So.
Wow.
And you never thought about something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you say VA is government, so you just getting, you know, what you put in terms of being in the service and such, as opposed to a hospital, Beaumont, or whoever who's out there to make every dollar they can. I have to give a quick story. My mom, she was in the hospital maybe a couple of years ago. Well, let's say it was in the last 2 years. And she had problems where she couldn't grip with her hands and couldn't walk and certain little things. So we were at Beaumont, we at Botsford, we all over the place, right? And just like what you said, Brother Payemba, they said, well, what we can do is we can fuse part of your, you know, the just below your neck that connects with your spinal cord, but you won't be able to move your head left or right. You'll have to move your whole body if you want to see left or right. At first, because of our mom's conditions, the children kind of said, like you said, they say as a family. So they asked us, and we said, Mom, well, this might be a good thing, because we looked at the shape she was in, and we just wanted the best for her. But then she thought about it and didn't do it. And the only reason I'm putting that into the conversation is that now she's coming around. She didn't have that surgery, like you were saying, where they were looking forward to. The surgeon never even came down to talk to her. All he had was other people come down to her. She said, look, I want to talk to the man that's going to do the work. I want to talk to all these other people down the line. So now she's getting where she can grip things more. She's using her walker. But had they done that and did that fusing of the vertebrae, she wouldn't have been able to move her head left or right without moving her whole body. So, yeah, brother, what you just said hit a nerve with me, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I have a host of horror stories by firsthand experience. I had one thing Dr. Zarif and I have been able to figure out. I had what I call an anxiety attack. That's a certain feeling that you get, and if you don't relieve it, it'll pass out. I usually do deep breathing exercises, and it passes. But this one time, I had it come on, and it was caused by fluorescent lighting, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I went into CVS, and all of a sudden, I felt this feeling, and I came out, and it disappeared. But I went back in, and it came back, and this time it stayed. So I went to my house that I lived at. My mother was with me, and I collapsed on the lawn. And I called EMS, and they picked me up and took me to Grace. So they put me in a gurney, put me in the corner. I'm sitting there. Now, one interesting thing, you can only visit on the hour for 10 minutes. 50 minutes, you can't have visitors. So my daughter was there. She came in with me, and they put me on the gurney, an hour later, she came back. She said, well, what'd they find? I said, no, I haven't seen anybody yet. So while I'm in the hospital, she went out after the 10 minutes. I'm in there. The patients are all screaming and hollering for pain medication. Lady next to me has everything. She's got diabetes. She's got high blood pressure. She got everything you can name.
And she got it. Yeah.
And she's hollering, "Give me some pain. Give me something for my pain." So finally, a doctor comes over and talks to her. They're talking about her. They says, "We're going to give her a spinal tap."
Oh.
A spinal tap, that's another operation.
Right,
They'll get
yeah.
some money, but they can't give you a spinal tap without your permission. I know she's a black woman. She don't know what we're talking about. She's hollering for pain, so they come over and says, "Well, we'll give you a spinal tap." She said, "Will that relieve the pain?" So he said, "But you have to sign this." So she signs for the spinal tap. My daughter comes in the next hour. They said, "Well, what's happening there?" I said, "I ain't seen the money yet." So anyway, they came in. The girl set up the morphine drip for this spinal tap. And then the doctor came on, applied a local anesthetic. Then he stuck a needle in this woman. And she screamed. She was a religious person. She screamed, and she wanted to cuss, but she started saying, and he starts scolding her. He says, "What is wrong with you? You got a morphine drip, you got..." And then the woman who set it up came over and said, "Oops." She set it up and it wasn't working.
Oh.
And I said, "Oops, that is not the words you want to hear in the hospital."
Wow.
And I'm observing all this. And so finally, she went through that and they went on. And now
this, in the emergency room, this was going on.
Yes.
Okay.
So now the next thing that happens is another man comes in and they put him next to me.
Oh, Lord.
So we wait 10 minutes. The doctor comes with a little notepad and she says, looks at me, looks at him and says, "Mr. McDonald?" And he said, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "Wait 1 minute. I've been here 4 hours. He been here 10 minutes. I said, "Y'all gonna wait on him?" They says, "You been here 4 hours and you haven't seen the doctor?" I said, "I haven't seen a doctor, a cleaning lady, a nurse, anybody." So she said, oh, I better. And so she runs out and gets an intern. The intern comes back and says, "Well, what's your problem?" I says, "I'd like for you to take this IV off of me so I can get out of here." She says, No. I says, "You can't." I says, "The only purpose for emergency is to stabilize you. I've already stabilized myself. I've deep breathed. I've stabilized myself. Take this off of me and let me out of here." So she says, "Wait, I'll go get a real doctor."
Oh, no, she didn't say that.
So she went and got a doctor. So the doctor comes and he's the same thing. "Well, I can, what's wrong? We can figure." I says, "You're not supposed to figure it out. You're just supposed to stabilize me. I'm stabilized. Take the stuff off of me. Let me out of here."
Oh, my God.
So he says, "Well, wait, I'll go get the head doctor." So he goes get the head doctor. Here she comes back with a tray with all kinds of instruments on it and rolls up. And she says, "Well, the first thing we're going to do is take blood." I says, "I'm not donating any blood today." And so she went right over her head. She says, "Oh, no. We're not talking about blood donation." I said, "No, what I mean is you've done everything that you can do for me. It's time for you to take this IV off and let me leave." She says, but we haven't done anything. I said, "Exactly my point. I've been here for 4 hours. You haven't done anything." So finally, she called. She says, "Well, why did you come here?" I said, "I didn't come here. They brought me here." I said, "So I want to get out of here, and I know I can." So she told the girl, "Go get the paper that says he won't let us treat him." I said, "No, go get the paper that says I won't let you mistreat me." And she got mad and left. And the black girls, they said, "Well, you can come back if you want." I said, "I don't want to come back here."
Now, we've had a wealth of knowledge. When we get to going, this is family. But we're in our last 4 minutes of the show.
No, we're not. Stop the clock. Stop the clock.
So I'm going to let Theo give Hood Research information, how you can join us, how you can call and contact us.
Oh, well, thank you. First, I got to say, I have really enjoyed our guest this morning. And with all of the historical stories, I should say, that we have gotten. We're looking forward to the next time. So you got to check your schedule, your calendar, and we'll go on to part 2. But anyway.
Well, yeah, I get to talking, and yeah, like I said, we like to share information because those things just pass away with the individual.
Right.
So we got to educate our people.
Oh yeah, and the way that you express all of the information makes it very interesting. It's spine. What was the word? Spine tingling. Right. Oh man. But anyway, you all have been listening to Payamba, and I know that you'll be sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to hear the next episode. But this is Hood Research, and I want to let you know it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can and guess to share with you and encourage you to share with us. The email for Hood Research is contact@hoodresearch.org. Again, that's CONTACT, the little A with the circle around it, the @ symbol, then HOODRESEARCH.org. Telephone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Again, the telephone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Also need you to know to go to our website. We have a conference call each and every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. And we share and encourage you to share with us. We also have guests there as well. For those of you who have pen and paper handy, know that each Saturday at 3 p.m. you can dial 1, then area code 978-990-5000. Again, that's area code, you dial 1-978-990-5000. It will ring one time, at which point you put in the access code. And the access code is 338729. Press the pound key and you will hear us talking. The access code is 338729. Press the pound key and you're on. We thank you so much for tuning in today. And Thabiti?
And as I always say at the end of the program, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you finish. And the phone numbers again for the House of High are area code 313-646-4431. Call, pay a visit, and get your health together. And we thank you for tuning in.
All right. And with that, thank you again, Pie. And to all of you out there, peace.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.